Hello.
Hello.
No. So,
Hey, happy New Year.
oh yeah, happy
Wait, did
New
we
Year to
do one of these
everybody.
since the new? We've done one of these
Um,
since the new year.
this is our first year. This is our first one of the new year. It
Is
has
it?
to be. It's not. Well, maybe did we do one last week?
We
I
should have
don't
done
know.
one before the
Oh, we did
thing went
one
live
before the free
last week.
weekend. We did one
Yeah.
before the free weekend. Yes, you are correct.
If we
Okay.
didn't, we're derelict in our duties. Speaking of,
Well, speaking of the free weekend, hey,
yeah,
thank you everybody. Seriously, from everybody at Stray Bombay, thank you all for the free weekend. Be it somebody just trying out the game for the first time, someone buying it this weekend, or just one of our current players sharing their love of the game with everybody else and jumping in and playing. It was absolutely fantastic. One of the things I've really missed because of the pandemic was going to events, showing your game, and kind of just hanging out with players afterwards. And that's what this felt like this weekend. Long conversations with people in the Discord or on Twitter, following up even in Steam chat with people who are playing and just giving feedback and talking about it, talking about the things they love, things they didn't like, or just, hey, I'm having this problem, can you help me out here? And it was just great. It was just
yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so very much. It was super successful. It went bigger than we thought it would. So
Yeah.
thank you.
We were absolutely blown away by the response. Like people playing the game, jumping in the Discord, asking questions about why things are the way they are, giving suggestions, giving incredible feedback across the board, bug reports, the whole thing. It was really amazing. And I especially loved the people who played in January or June or at some point in the past and jumped in and were like, "Hey, here's the stuff that I noticed that's different." And I like you guys like it was really fun. It was a great weekend. So on that note, though, we have stuff coming. We're not going to stop. Like we released 26 updates in the first year. I think we're going to hit 27 before the 1 year anniversary because we're looking for another update on Thursday or Friday of this week. And we met this morning and collated all the feedback. So this is an important thing we do. Even if we don't respond, we try to respond to everything. Some stuff slips through the cracks because of time zones. But if we like, I go back through and pull everything from the forums. We have a big long list of all the feedback that we've gotten. And we sat down this morning first thing, talked about how it went, and literally made a list of here are the things that we can change easily. Here are the easy fixes. Here are the easy adjustments. Here are the easy tweaks based on feedback. Here's some easy bug fixes we can do, and then we also have the list of the larger things to focus on that'll take longer that we'll work on
Yep.
either later this month or later in the first quarter or later this year.
And that's kind of how you're going to see updates. The cadence of updates coming is probably won't be every week. We've been doing every week except for the holiday week. But we probably will get like every other week. So we'll figure that out. But
Yeah,
what you'll see is some updates will just be bug fixes and some small things. We always try to add something a little bit cool, but there'll be more workman like kind of updates. And then some will be bigger, meatier topics like feedback on the weapons. We know how the weapons work in the game now are kind of weird, and they break a lot of the rules that we made about in the game. So in the game, if you see something that can be picked up by anybody and essentially taken away, when you take it away from somebody else, it needs to be big and obvious so you know what it is before you pick it up. There needs to be plentiful of them so that somebody else can just pick up the next thing. So think about like special weapons or grenades, right? You can just pick them up. It's fine. Someone gobbles ahead. They can only get so many of them. Weapons are a little bit different of a beast because there's some really good ones out there. And so how they're presented in the world isn't clear to people. How they're up, like what their powers are isn't clear to people, like all of those kind of things. And so we've already got some ideas and we've been working on. Your feedback was really great and clear about that, but that update will not come out this week. It'll come out a little later. But it's really based on your feedback. And I think people don't realize how malleable the game is still yet. We're making a 4-player cooperative shooter, which will also have a versus mode. Those things are true. Those are always going to be true on this. We're not making an escape game or whatever. But inside of that, there's a lot of things that can change, a lot of things that we mix up, a lot of things that we play around with and try and get your feedback on. And so we are always open to that feedback and appreciate it.
yeah. So with that in mind, we're gonna try something a little different this time. We will. Okay, first off, we talked about this before. It's worth reading because I think we have new people in the community after the free weekend. Typically, the way we do big changes, because we're a small team, we don't want to invest a bunch of resources in something that's going to go away because people don't like it. We build a fast I don't want to say cheap because it's not really cheap, but we build something quickly and we don't make sure it interacts with all the other systems the way we necessarily want. So like the weapons system is a good example of this, right? It interacts with the perk system and things like the way the ping works and all that in some of the ways that we might want, but it definitely needs work to be fully integrated with the other systems in the game. And that's the work that often gets you in game development, right? That's the stuff that's that 10%, the final 10% of the time that takes 90% of the time. So we build a quick and easy version of that first, and then put it out there, get feedback, and then build the V2 that's more polished based on that feedback that we've collected from the V1. So obviously that's coming. It's not coming this week. The stuff that is coming this week, we heard you about matchmaking and server hosting issues. I think we got a lot of feedback from players that they were experiencing desync, which is a pretty common thing in PvP games where where the server has to reconcile the position of two players that have varying amounts of lag. Since we're PvE, we don't necessarily have traditional desync in that way, but what we do have is a lot of AI happening in the background on the server for all the aliens and all the specials and the director and all the other stuff that's happening. And if if the host is a CPU limited machine, if it has a slower CPU, or is, for example, like an Xbox One, which can host public games right now, the performance for those matches is going to be not great. We're adding an update this week to prevent some of those lower CPU machines from hosting the game. We're going to disallow Xbox Ones from hosting public games. You'll still be able to host a private game if you want. That's up to you. But things like that are going to improve the overall quality of the matchmaking pool. We're also updating some settings on matchmaking on the networking performance based on work we did before the free weekend, but also some things we tested during the free weekend. And that'll have like adjustments to bandwidth up and down that the game uses and packet sizes and stuff like that. We don't need to get into the specifics here. I'll put them they'll be in the patch notes.
Yes.
But that should, in our testing internally, that has had a really noticeable impact on the kind of choppiness and the warping that we see in high intensity fights with lots of common aliens in them. We're fixing some other bugs, like the bug that made the game take 30 minutes to launch if you had the Oculus software installed. I'm going to blame Mark Zuckerberg for that one. But that's fixed in Thursday. And then we're some other like optimizations and stuff like that, like there's some texture stuff that'll help low memory GPUs and stuff like that. And we're adding a new weekly challenge, which is pretty exciting.
Yes.
The new weekly challenge is called "This Is Fine." There's fire. In that we have defective airlocks, which means when you go up and hit the button on an airlock to leave a level, it makes a whole bunch of noise, summons a giant horde of enemies. You have to defend the airlock while it slowly opens. We are also adding defective matter compilers, which means there's a lot more matter compilers, but they're all broken and you have to defend them while they activate and they summon a horde. To give you tools to handle these extra hordes, we're giving you more special weapons, but we're also, since it's a "This Is Fine" meme, we feel like that's a fire situation, and all of the goopers are smoldering, so that means there's going to be a lot of flaming goo everywhere you go. And the levels in that are episode 2 level 1, which is the depot, episode 3 level 2, which is medbay, and episode 1 level 4, which is the park. Those we thought were good airlocks to have to defend at the end. So that'll be out this week. We also are going to do some stuff in the UI to maybe encourage people to go look at that screen where all the different modes are, because we feel like maybe a lot of people just hit the quick play button this weekend, which is great. But we have stuff like holdout mode. We have the weekly challenges. We have community made maps, all on that dedicated play screen, so you can get in there and host your own public games if you're having performance problems, stuff like that. There's all sorts of good options in there, and we want people to kind of explore that a little bit more. So that's it, I think, for us.
And then I guess we have one little question here at the end for you.
And
that is, so we like doing these dev blogs to kind of talk to you about what we're doing. We rarely make saying what we're going to do in the future, because the future changes and we're always updating. This one, we're actually saying a little bit, hey, this is what we're going to do in the future. You can, this is going to be coming. As we're doing that, if you like those and you want us to just do these weekly or more often or before every update, let us know, or let us know things you'd want little deeper dives on. Happy to do that. A lot in the forums discussing kind of the lore in the world, some of which we're willing to get into, some of which we want to wait a little bit because the characters have just gotten their very first pass of audio. They need to get a little bit deeper. But so, let us know what you'd kind of what would be valuable for you out of these as well. And we can start doing these. But really, while we wanted to tell you there's an update coming today, what we really wanted to do today was say thank you.
Yeah.
And seriously, from everybody in the community, we play so many games on our Discord. I consider a bunch of you now friends that I hang out with every single week, and I really appreciate that. And so for you guys supporting us and helping us on the free weekend with new players was just an amazing feel. So thank you.
It was wonderful to see, and I loved seeing people getting in the Discord and answering questions. Like a lot of times I would get in the Discord, I'd see somebody new come in and they'd have a question, somebody else would have gotten the answer there already, which is lovely. So yeah, thanks to everybody, and we will have this patch out. Like we said, we're shooting for this week. Fingers crossed, as always.
Hey, and if you're on Xbox, we are leaving Game Pass the 15th. That's coming up. Don't worry. We're leaving Game Pass. We're not leaving Xbox. We're going to continue to support it. We're going to continue to do updates. In fact, we have a little surprise for you. Hopefully we're going to get out this week as well. Because we really want to make sure that you have access to some of the content that's coming out of the workshop. If not directly, we can get it set up for you. And that's one of the things we're working on. Eventually you'll get full workshop access as well. That's really important to us. And, one of the things I think that's really let us be a good partner that way in cross-platform is that Xbox themselves, Microsoft has been fantastic for this, making sure they're pushing through updates quickly for us. Just so you know, there is no lag, like Steam is not being held back because we're on Xbox and doing those kind of updates. That's the world of old. The world of today is we test the builds, we test them on all the platforms, we go through our normal set internally, and then we submit them up so that they're ready for in the morning, and in the morning we ship them.
Yeah.
That happens now across platforms. Before you would have to wait for days and everything else. It's long gone. It is just amazing now. And so we're able to keep the two in sync. We're able to do quick updates. And so, I thank you, Microsoft, for that, because it's just been amazing that even though we're leaving Game Pass, fully supporting the Xbox, and going forward, there's going to be even more stuff and more features coming.
More good stuff to come. To that end, since we are leaving Game Pass, we are on sale right now on the Xbox. We're also still on sale on Steam. Both of those go through at least the 15th. I think Steam goes to the 19th, and I think Xbox goes for at least a couple of days after we actually leave Game Pass. So you can get the game, you can keep playing. You don't have to pay full price. And again, we really appreciate everybody's support over the weekend, both new players and old. It's been great to see everybody. So thank you all so much. Yeah. Bye. Yeah, that'll do it for us. We'll be back next time with another one. Bye, everybody.